No problem, Mr. Thornton, and thank you so very much for lunch. That was an awesome burger and fries. I appreciate that. All right, I'll talk to you later. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Thornton Farm. This is episode number 13, and it is just after 12:30 in the afternoon on game day 9 of late summer, which means one thing, and that means that this is the last game day of summer, obviously, duh. And it's also episode number 13 of Thornton Farm. Now, we just came up here to do a couple of things. One, we brought in some fresh tomatoes, as they call them here in the UK, and some lettuce from the greenhouses. Because Mr. Thornton uses his own produce there in the pub, and he served a fantastic pub burger and fries there for us as well. So we're going to head on back to the main farm, but actually before we do that, we do need to make one little stop here. We'll turn on our beacon there just so that we're somewhat legal driving this oversized golf cart down a public motorway or public highway here. We do need to stop off here and just eyeball and see if our harvester is ready. We did put the harvester in the shop. We had some problems with it last fall, or not really had some problems with it, but just noticed a few things were not as fantastic as they could be. So we had a new set of tires put on it and had the engine tuned up and stuff like that. So they gave it a good big work over, once over, and everything is working supposedly fantastic now. So we'll get up here and pick that up here later today. Now tomorrow we will begin our harvest here on Thornton Farm. Let's see. Billy Bob has gone. He has left the country, as far as I know, because he is soon to be due back in the U.S. for their harvest season, and so that just has obviously left Smithy and Thomas, and they've got their time off all taken care of. Everybody is spent some time with their family, gone and visited a few sites here, there, and everywhere, and have enjoyed their time. And it'll all be hands on deck tomorrow for the harvest, because it'll be time to start bringing in our wheat fields at least, and then we'll just kind of go from there with whatever needs to be done and whatever becomes ready to harvest at that particular point in time. So we'll go ahead and turn the beacons off. We are going to do a few things in this episode, mainly I suppose pertaining to animals. That's just kind of the way it is, though. My apologies. We've got to do these things, and I wanted to make an episode that would kind of earmark our very last game day of summer. We have kind of maybe we've kind of sped through summer. I don't know. Maybe we sped through. Well, we started in summer. I was going to say we sped through spring, but we did actually speed through spring, because I did spring certainly off camera and got everything sowed and plowed and fertilized and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and turn this guy here on and exit out. We are going to serve up some mixed rations this morning for our dairy cows. We're sort of taking today. Today is that day where obviously, we need to tend to our animals on a daily basis, and we do that around here on Thornton Farm. But today is just kind of the day that we want to make sure that we get all of this kind of stuff done, because that will obviously be in the best interest whenever it comes time to connect to these bells here. Let's try it like this. We may have to take a stack off here and pull them down and then kind of regroup here. But anyway, we want to utilize today as a day that we can kind of get some of this stuff done, because again, tomorrow it really is going to be about starting to get the harvest in. Let's just take a look at our weather forecast here, because as you can see, we've got a couple of good days at the very beginning of fall that we can obviously harvest, and then we've got some rain coming in, and then that's going to be followed by 2 days of rain towards the end of fall. So what we have in front of us here is kind of a bit of a chore, if you will, because we need to get the harvest in. We need to get started on that kind of in earnest, as I say, at the very, very beginning. And so getting some of this stuff out of the way on the day that we run into our tipper will just kind of help us be able to focus and concentrate on the harvest once we start that process. And of course, like I said, that will be tomorrow. So we'll go and grab one hay or one straw bale here. Probably have to bring two of them out, and then sort of regroup here with the old telehandler. I just love this telehandler. I'm sure you guys are probably getting tired of maybe seeing this telehandler. I kind of use it on just about every map, as I do the sort of the Penta DB50. It just kind of seems to be something that I really enjoy. So try to mix things up otherwise with other vehicles as I run into that. Gosh, I'm just running into all sorts of things this morning. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. As far as my day is concerned, I'm recording this episode. I don't know when you guys will see it, but I am recording this episode on the 9th of December. And let's just throw that in there. And recording this episode on the 9th of December, and so you guys will see this at some point, most likely before Christmas. I'm not that far behind on things. But I have kind of still kind of been working on, how episodes are going to flow out through the channel and everything, and just what I'm going to be able to do with regards to that. So we'll take our parking brake off. We'll turn off the mixing wagon, so we've got maximum horsepower as we climb up this muddy hill here. And we had some rain yesterday, so I think that's kind of contributed to this hill being a bit slick this morning. But we're getting up it just fine. So we've been up here a couple of times. We've also stocked the greenhouses, got them all going. And oops, drove a little bit too far there. All right. Stocked the greenhouses, got them going with manure, got them going with water. Again, it's all about kind of getting some of this stuff done because we can always do greenhouses in the rain or in the wet, damp conditions. We can always feed our animals in the rain, in the wet, damp conditions. We can haul milk. We can do all those kind of things when we can't harvest. But when the sun is shining and the ground is dry, then we need to be able to harvest. And so that's kind of why I've laid out the plan that I've laid out. And if the weather forecast holds true, and again, I'll just pull that up so we can all see that, we're going to be harvesting like crazy on the first 2 days of fall. And then, and obviously that includes baling or picking up straw. Most likely we'll be baling that. And then, of course, we've got Sunday where it's going to be raining, and we most likely will have to pause for a bit in our harvesting processes and everything, but hopefully we'll have all the straw up, and then we can hit it again on Monday and Tuesday. Now we have 2 more game days of fall that we're not able to see there, so we will hopefully hope that that weather system that's coming in on the 6th and 7th game day of fall, that weather system will move out and won't be a factor anymore. All right, so we've I think that will probably suffice for our animals at this particular point in time. So bear with me for just a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and park this mixing wagon here under the canopy here under the barn, and I'll be right back with you. All right, that is done. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and park this guy up over here for right now. And we're probably going to leave him here in this area of the farm. You may notice that we've moved, excuse me, we've moved the large John Deere, we've moved the JCB out of here. We basically have been in the process of washing and getting these vehicles cleaned up and everything for the fall harvest, I suppose. You know, Mr. Thornton likes to keep things clean, and that's what we've been attempting to try to do over the last couple of days once we got the boys all back from their vacations. Come on, Daisy. Go ahead and climb over the bucket there, walk through the cab of the wheel loader. That's okay. She wants to drive, I think. Anyway, once we got the boys back from vacation and got everybody all hands on deck and everything, we began focusing on getting ready for the fall harvest and getting things not only cleaned up, washing the tractors and everything, but also getting things maintained so that we pretty much have the ability that once we can begin harvesting, and again, that's going to occur tomorrow. So in the next game day, we will be harvesting on Thornton Farm for the very first time, that we can harvest and not have to stop and do things like that. Because again, when you've got a weather forecast like we have that's sort of staring us in the face, where we know potentially the first, or that we have three game days out of 7 there that have some potential for rain and wet ground conditions, that we just have to take advantage of what we have. So looks like Giant still has this 99% issue. I was kind of maybe expecting that would get resolved with the update and everything, but it did not, as I sort of segue out of my role play there. And we're just collecting manure. We'll eventually either sell this manure or maybe send this up to the greenhouses. But yeah, we're just kind of collecting that right there. And I see they're having their little conversation, catching up on all the gossip, I'm sure, that girls have to gossip. We'll leave that little dab there. Don't want to dominate the episode too much, and hopefully I can get out of this gate here and kind of cut her off so she doesn't try to come through the gate, but she'll just kind of walk through the tractor, because that's what they do. And we'll shut the gate there, keep everybody in, because, well, they're pretty well mannered, as I've said before, but you just don't want to, you don't want to tempt fate. Alright, so we'll go ahead and park our bucket right over here. The sheep are already taken care of, so we don't have to worry about that. So don't worry that is actually going to be a part of the episode, because it won't. There we go. Alright, we will go ahead and take the JCB wheel loader over to the other side of the farm here and give this guy a quick wash. And that way everything is kind of washed up and looking good. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I'm not sure if I've said that already, but I do hope so. Hope you all are getting ready for Christmas, have everything done, have all the decorations up, have the stockings hung by the chimney with care, in the hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there. I think that's how that goes, or something like that. So hope you all are ready for that. If you've got little ones, I'm sure that you've already done the visit with Santa, the photographs with Santa, all that kind of stuff. All that's quite cool, and whatnot. So I didn't realize, I had actually forgotten that I purchased the Penta DB50 tipper for this map, and I had been thinking, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to go with the Penta on this map, and then I realized just today actually that I did purchase it, and I placed it underneath the loading chute there where we dump grain. So we've got that on the map, and I tell you what, let's go ahead and wash this guy up here. Might as well, while we're washing stuff. We're not going to wash all this other equipment. We'll just leave that as is for now, and we'll wash up our Dutzfar here. I do like this tractor. I know I say this almost every time I climb in it, but it is sort of a flashback to the Farm Sim 15 days for me. I drove this tractor for many hours on Westbridge Hills. I don't know if I've ever shared this story with you all, and I will go ahead and talk about this. This is out of character. It's kind of my story of getting started with FarmSim 15. So, before FarmSim 15 came along, or before I was exposed to FarmSim 15, pretty much the only simulation-based video games that I played was Flight Sim. And I had been a multiple-year Flight Sim enthusiast going back all the way to the 1980s when I first got started with flight simulation on the Commodore 64 computer. And so I had been doing some live streams on Twitch of my flight sim activities, and I belonged to a virtual airline. I even ran a virtual airline for a while. So anyway, I was watching one of the other Twitch streamers that I sort of followed and knew at the time, and he began playing FarmSim 15. And I'm like, and I had heard of it, but I think I had confused it with Farmville on Facebook. And my mom absolutely loves Farmville on Facebook, and I get all these posts and everything from her that's basically saying, help me harvest this or do that or whatever. And I've never been interested in that, and so I just kind of ignore them. And I have a few other friends that also enjoy playing Farmville and whatnot. So I had confused basically Farmville with FarmSim, and I had never really heard about FarmSim 13 or 11 or 9 prior to that. Again, my head was kind of stuck in the clouds with Flight Sim. And so when I saw this, and I saw this individual playing, I think he was probably playing on I can't think of the name of the map right now, but anyway, he was playing, and I'm like, well, that looks pretty cool. So I think there was a Steam sale, and I purchased it, downloaded it, installed it, and I quickly realized, I think I installed it with the thought that I could possibly use my Flight Sim yoke as a steering wheel and my Flight Sim rudder pedals as a gas pedal brake pedal. And it's possible that that we could do that. Let's see here. What we're going to do here, I'll just pause my little story for a second, is we're going to have one of these guys drive the Fendt harvester down to the main farm with us, but we need to go ahead and inspect it and make sure that they've done everything that they say that they were going to do, and everything looks good. And we'll just make sure that it all unfolds correctly, the pipe moves correctly, no squeaks or grinds as it were before. So we'll go ahead and close the chute back into the transport position and close the harvester up like that. Awesome sauce. Okay, so we'll do a little follow me here, and he'll drive that down for us, and we'll drive the gator. So anyway, I installed FarmSim 15, and I initially started playing with keyboard and mouse because, again, I sort of gave up on trying to get the controls to work with. Is he coming? Yeah, he's just holding back like he's supposed to. All right, so I quickly realized that I would want to play this a little bit different. I would want to play with some type of controller, but I wasn't sure if I would want to play it, if I would like that type of a simulation-based game well enough to invest in a G27 or something like that. So what I initially did was I purchased a Logitech Xbox type controller for PC, a USB Jobby, and I spent many hours playing FarmSim, and even began to gravitate towards ETS2. I purchased ETS2 and drove it for many hours with an Xbox type controller, and then came along the G27, etc. So going back to FarmSim 15, for the longest time I played Westbridge Hills, the default map that came with FarmSim 15, and all the default equipment. I really didn't know about mods. I knew obviously that mods probably existed because, again, coming from the flight sim community, we didn't really necessarily call them mods. We called them more add-ons, or either payware or freeware aircraft or sceneries or stuff like that. But still, the concept exists. And so, but I played for many, many hours with just default stuff. And of course, that Deutschfahr tractor being the one that was placed on the Westbridge Hills map. And so I just played that with whatever equipment that they gave us to play with in the beginning there, and had fun doing it, and just thought it was a blast. So it was quite interesting, and I quite very much enjoyed it all. So we're going to just park this guy up over here, and we'll set the parking brake, and then hopefully this guy is not having a, okay, he's just going to leave it here in the street. Not a problem. All right, well, thank you for bringing it this far. I appreciate it. We'll take over from here. All right, thank you. All right, so hopefully he didn't bend the front deck there. Good help is hard to find, as I often say. Get this thing swung in here. This is perhaps a little bit larger of a combine than what this map necessarily requires, but there go again. We'll go ahead and also top this guy up with fuel. He'll only need a few liters. Get that done. But yeah, there I go again, by just saying that, I like using the little bit larger equipment just because it kind of makes things go a little quicker. And when you're having to kind of do everything yourself, as far as storylines and stuff like that go, kind of having a little bit larger capacity of equipment does help with that just a little bit. Of course, I have Courseplay, and we will be using Courseplay because we'll be keeping Thomas and Smithy busy as much as we possibly can. And there we go. So that guy is ready to rock and roll. And so tomorrow, I guess this brings us to a good point to go ahead and start wrapping things up for this episode. Episode number 13 hasn't been too unlucky at all. I will just say thank you all so very much for watching. I think I told all of that story that I wanted to tell with Farm Sim 15. I know I sometimes have a habit of leaving things out, but we've got our tractor fleet in here. We'll be probably utilizing most of this stuff for carting and other stuff, because what we will be doing is as soon as the harvest comes off the field, obviously we will, let's go ahead and bring that up so we can talk about that somewhat intelligently here. We'll go back to this screen here and we'll take a look at this. I believe that 13 and 12, these are our wheat fields, I believe. Let me go back to this. Yep, wheat. 12 and 13. These are probably going to be the fields that we're going to start on first. Most likely we will start with 13. That way we can cart from 13 directly to the main farm. And then once we have 13 harvested, we can harvest 12 and cart through field number 13, pending that conditions are suitable enough for that. Certainly don't want to tear the field up unnecessarily, but if we have dry conditions as we are forecasted to have, then we'll be able to do that. Now obviously we'll need to start almost immediately start picking up the straw from field 13 and from field 12, get that in before the weather comes in. We've got canola over here, 8 and 9. These fields may come in next. Obviously that would be a great thing to have done. But as we begin to get the fields harvested, we'll need to begin to start getting the fields ready for winter. And we will be a mixture of cultivating and also seeding in some oilseed radish. As I had mentioned at sort of the very beginning of this series, we do have a new mandate in this part of the country. This isn't real life, obviously, but we do have a mandate here in our virtual world where we can only use artificial fertilizers, so that being chemical-based fertilizers, whether it's liquid or granular. We can only use one application of that, so we're going to need to take advantage of we're going to need to be able to take advantage of our natural-based fertilizers, so manure, oilseed radish, etc., to be able to circumvent the other applications of those. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's just 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a few other things, odds and ends, that I need to do. Managing the farm and everything requires a little bit of paperwork, so I'm going to spend some time doing that. And we'll all be here first thing in the morning, bright and early, to begin the harvest of wheat from field number 13, I think it was. And I hope that you will come back and join us for that. And I hope to see you soon. If you don't have anything better to do, I might even put you to work. Take care of each other. God bless you all, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye. Hey, boy. How you doing? You want to go for a walk? All right. Let's go.